Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where I've got to say, I'm tired. I'm tired. I did a Spartan trail run yesterday. I did a half marathon Spartan trail run. No obstacles. It was just like 2,100 feet of elevation gain that looked something like that. I am sore. I am sore and I am tired. I got back yesterday. I got stung. My foot, my ankle, literally there was like a wasp nest in the middle of one of the trails we ran on. So we're running down the trail, right? And we're about 2 miles into a 13.5 mile run, 2 miles in. And then all of a sudden, it's like I'm going along and I feel this nip in my ankle. And then like nip. I was like, ah. And so like I kind of pull over to the side. I'm like, fuck, that hurts. And then somebody behind me is like, oh, are you okay? And then as I'm about to talk to them, they start getting fucking stung. And the next person gets fucking stung. So we all like running, like, ah, as true Spartans do. Ah, we're running. Anyways, fuck, that was 2 miles in. That was 2 miles in to a 13.5 mile run. Anyways, it goes up and it goes down, all that kind of thing. So anyways, I get home yesterday morning. And I'm just exhausted. So normally I do about 13 miles in 2 hours and 10 minutes when you're road running. It took me about 3 hours. It's 13-minute miles doing this. I'm still in pain today. My foot still hurts today. My muscles still hurt today. I'm still kind of like a little groggy from it. It's just a hell of an experience. Anyway, so I come home and I show my wife my little medal, my little participation medal. No, I did not win. I did not win. Anyways, but then she noticed there's things clicking on the back. There's this thing clinking on the back. You see this thing here? This thing? Yeah, so this is 1/3 of a trifecta medal. She's like, oh, what's that? And then I was like, well, if you do these 3 different types of trails they have within 1 calendar year, you get the trifecta medal. And so basically you have to do a 10K, one of their 10K, Spartan 10Ks. That's fine. I can do that. You have to do the half marathon, which I did it. I don't know if it's fine, but I did it. So I got that part. Then you got to do the other one, which is a 50K, 31 point something miles of what I did yesterday. And so my wife just was like, okay, so when are you bringing the medal home? I'm like, what? You want me to run 31 point something miles just so I can have a stupid medal? This is why they say married men become more successful in life. Because when they come home, I tripped on the trail, like my knees all scuffed up, right? You come home dirty and bloody and sweaty and absolutely exhausted. And then your wife's like, yeah, so when are you going to do the 31-mile one? I want to see a medal, boy. Fuck. Oh, the real world of marriage. The real world of marriage. What they don't tell you. And then she's like, oh, Eli, I'm just joking. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Anyways, let's not talk about this. Eli, why are you talking about your Spartan medal? Because I don't really want to talk about Trump. I don't talk about Trump because I want to. I talk about Trump because, oh, fuck me, he's breaking shit. He's just breaking everything. Even Coca-Cola. Like, he literally is like, yeah, you know what would be better for the Coca-Cola recipe? When the fuck did U.S. presidents start to get a vote on Coca-Cola recipes? That is the world we live in 2025. He might be trying to break the global order. He might be threatening to murder Europeans in Greenland. He might be bombing the crap out of Iran. Or he might be arguing about the perfect quantity of real sugar in Coca-Cola. Because in our world, the president believes he should have a say in absolutely everything. Which, that makes me feel good about our democracy. There's nothing that says your democracy is healthy as your president literally thinking that he has a vote on absolutely everything. So this is interesting. I'll be curious to see how this works out at the end of the day. So we have this big thing trying to reshore technology to the United States. We're not investing in more vocational programs. We're not changing zoning laws. We're not doing all those things to actually reindustrialize our country. One of the things I will remind you, I'll just put this on the table just so you can really grasp the concept here. Right, so when I had my store in Baltimore City, my building that I owned was zoned for light industrial, right? I could have a small factory in that building if I wanted to, and that's one of the reasons I liked buying it, because if I had become like a computer manufacturer or whatever else, I could have done that, like literally in downtown Baltimore. Anyways, business. Great Recession happened, sold the building. Literally, when I sold the building, the person that I sold the building to decided that he was going to turn it into 3 condos. So you're taking a property that was zoned light industrial, zoned to be a small factory in the middle of Baltimore, and you're turning it into 3 condos. And think about that. Think about this on a larger scale. My building's pretty small. On a larger scale, if you go down to waterfront areas or a lot of places, like there will be the industrial area, the warehouse districts in major cities, and you know how expensive the condos are there? Wow! You can afford a condo in the warehouse district of major cities? Yeah, and I'll just point out to anybody who might actually have an ounce of power in this situation, we are turning our warehouse districts into very expensive condos. Even if I wanted to create a computer factory here in the United States, how would I do it in 2025? But anyway, I just got to put that on the table. So anyway, we're supposed to be reshoring all this stuff. God knows how this is actually going to work out. We heard a lot of promises. We had a lot of Apple promises. Everybody promises. Everybody promises. Remember when Foxconn promised under the first Trump administration to this massive development in Wisconsin? I think it was Wisconsin. Anyways, right? They used eminent domain to take away people's farms, all of this stuff. And it had to be done because Foxconn was going to do this amazing stuff, right? They were bringing their state-of-the-art manufacturing technology to the United States. And then they did it. And then they just did it. And nobody seems to talk about that anymore. We don't talk about Bruno, no. We don't talk about Foxconn in Wisconsin. Because, that would destroy the storyline. Because all we care about with a television president is what it looks like on TV. We don't care about the reality. We don't care about the farmers that were kicked off of their own land so that we could improve our country, and then they still don't have their land, and the factory isn't built. But anyways, you got the whole this disaster going on. And so one of the big things going on right now is the whole question, like with Intel, what the hell is going on with Intel? Right, under the CHIPS Act for Biden, Intel got billions of dollars, right? Billions of dollars to invest in fabs and that type of thing here in the United States. And so with those billions of dollars, they decided to lay off like 24,000 people. I've done the math on it before. I've talked about this before. I think in 2025, essentially, or no, that's right, Intel. So over the past 2 years, they will have laid off 40,000 employees. So the Biden administration hands them billions of dollars in taxpayer money, and then they lay off 40,000, not 4,000, 40,000 employees. Right, so there's this whole question of like what the hell is going on with Intel, and it's interesting from the technology world, as I've talked about before, right? I talk about Google failing, and that seems ridiculous. I talk about these other technology companies failing, and that seems ridiculous. But Yahoo, right? Thinking that Yahoo would be dead at this point in time, that would have seemed ridiculous. AOL would be dead at this point in time, that would have seemed ridiculous, right? All these tech companies in the past, they're dead, and so we see this weird spiral of death. And so one of the companies that's fascinating to look at is like Intel. How the fuck can Intel die? Like seriously, like, what do you mean Intel's dying? That doesn't even make a damn bit of sense. It wasn't that long ago that they were king of the hill, and now they are spiraling the drain as they drink taxpayer money, because that's how 2025 is. Anyways, so on top of all of that, we now have a new drama coming from Donald Trump. So if you weren't worried about Intel before, which you should have been worried about Intel before, we now have Trump coming out on Truth Social, where all of our politicians state their policy goals. The CEO of Intel is highly conflicted and must resign immediately. There is no other solution to this problem. Thank you for your attention. So now Trump is coming out and saying that the CEO of Intel needs to resign immediately. So the new CEO was brought in because the last CEO was fucking things up, and now he needs to go. And since it's television, right? Television time, people do not have a long attention span, so you need to get rid of him like now. Even though he's already been putting plans into place, like he's putting plans in place, he's been firing people, all kinds of stuff is going on because of his plans, but he's just gotta go because that's what happens on Trump's timeline. From CNBC with us, Intel shares drop after Trump calls for CEO to resign immediately. Intel shares slipped Thursday after President Donald Trump called for the chip maker's CEO to step down. In Truth Social post, Trump said Intel chief executive Lip-Bu Tan, quote, is highly conflicted and must resign. I just told you that. Intel said in a comment later Thursday that the company directors and Tan are, quote, deeply committed to advancing U.S. national and economic security interests. Quote, we are continuing to invest billions of dollars in domestic semiconductor R&D and manufacturing, including our new fab in Arizona that will run the most advanced manufacturing process technology in the country and are the only company investing in leading logic process node development in the U.S., the statement said. Tan was named as Intel CEO in March as the company tried to rebound from the decline in sales under the stewardship of Pat Gelsinger. This week, Senator Tom Cotton, Republican of Arkansas, questioned Tan's ties to Chinese companies and referenced a past criminal case involving Cadence Design where Tan was CEO until 2021. Cotton wrote to Intel's chair to, quote, express concern about the security and integrity of Intel's operations and its potential impact on U.S. national security. Quote, Intel is required to be a responsible steward of American taxpayer dollars and to comply with applicable security regulations, Cotton wrote. Quote, Mr. Tan's associations raise questions about Intel's ability to fulfill those obligations. And so this is going to be one of the interesting things to go along with the Trump administration, right? The next 3.5 years of this idiocy, right? His associations raise questions. We are unsure of the friends that they have. We would feel more comfortable if you go away. Because that's how things should work in a fully functioning democracy. Cotton asked whether the company required Tan to divest from positions in chip makers linked to the Chinese Communist Party, the People's Liberation Army, and any other concerning entities in China. Concerning entities in China. One of the things we'll hear with this whole anti-China policy is concerning associations. Where's the evidence? Where the fuck is there ever evidence? We don't need no evidence. You question that we do not have evidence? Maybe you are a Chinese sympathizer. No, maybe I want a fucking functioning democracy. Maybe I don't think the President of the United States should have say over the goddamn recipe of Coca-Cola. Or that he should be able to threaten to kill Europeans because he had a bad night last night, or whatever else. But anyway, Tan has invested in a number of Chinese companies, including some linked to the country's military, both directly or through venture funds, Reuters reported in April. So wow, a technology CEO has invested in technology companies that are related to China, and damn near everything in China is related to the CCP, or the People's Liberation Army, so on and so forth. So this will be curious. This will be curious. What happens when you have a president who has a lot of business experience, driving business into bankruptcy, who then decides to put his 2 cents into the world of technology? How well is this going to go? And not only how well is this going to go, but as we've seen in this storyline with the Trump administration, once he gets away with one idiocy, he just keeps going. He just keeps going. He's like, oh, I got away with that. If you can grab him by the poo-tang, I mean, what else can I do? So he just keeps going. So this will be Like, this will be interesting to see what happens with Intel, and then also what's going to happen with the larger technology world, where we get into this environment where basically everybody has to kiss the ring. Apparently now, it's so confusing, right? He is so fucking exhausting as a creature that runs this country. And he's not supposed to run this country. He's the president. He's one component of our government. But anyways, right? There's this whole thing now with chips coming out of Taiwan, that they're going to have 100% tariff on them. Processors, they're going to have 100% tariff on them, unless you slobber over Trump's ring, right? So Tim Cook apparently got on his knees and crawled like a whimpering little puppy to slobber over Trump's ring and state, God knows what will actually happen, and say that they're going to invest like another $100 billion or something in the United States for manufacturing. How that's going to work out, interesting question. Trade schools, zoning policy, the rest of it. Anyways, right? But anyways, because they put out a soundbite that sounds good on television, right? Apparently, countries that do that, right, or companies that do that, companies that kiss the ring, will not have to pay 100% tariffs on chips. So incredibly large corporations that placate the senile old loser that's currently in office, they get to sidestep 100% tariffs on chips. Anybody else doesn't, which is going to be just a nasty competitive disadvantage, right? So we're seeing that. Now he's stepping into the thing saying whether the CEO for Intel, whether they're appropriate, and then demanding, right? It needs to be good for prime time. I said that Intel needs to fire their CEO, and they did, right? That's good for prime time. And then what's next? What's next? What is next as part of this insanity? And so, yeah, it'll be curious to see what happens. Again, like my biggest problem with what is currently going on, right? I get this whole question, Eli, how do I get a job? The biggest problem that I currently see is that we so do not understand what is going on, right? You as a professional, right? There's a job. The job is what you currently do. I scream into a camera, and for some reason this makes me money. All right, that's my job. It's a weird job, but it's a job. Anyway, there's your job, and then there's your career, right? Your career is everything you've done, right? For me, it was the Army, and then the corporate world, and being a consultant, then having my business with employees, and doing tech education, whatever. And like the thing that you have to be thinking about with jobs and your career is it's always a bet. It's always a bet, right? When I went to get my MCSE, and now to say get my MCSE, that seems like, yeah, of course you got your MCSE. But you have to understand, back in 2000, when I got my MCSE, there was something called Novell. There's Novell Systems Administrator. So Novell, what was it, LDAP? Anyways, there's this shit called LDAP. It's how computers communicate with each other over a network and share resources, essentially. So anyways, there was an LDAP implementation done by this company called Novell. And there was Microsoft's implementation. And so basically when I went to go to a boot camp back then, you could either do Novell or you could do MCSE. Now, what I would like to tell you, boys and girls, is I sat down, I did my research, and I figured all this shit. I didn't. I was like, oh, that one. I don't know. I picked correct, right? I got my MCSE, and that's one thing. Like, if I got Novell, honestly, I may not be sitting here screaming into a camera today. Yeah, right? It's bets. It's all kinds of bets. And you just take these bets, and some of them work out, and some of them don't. Like, I think about this, like when I had my computer repair company. Literally, at the time, so 2006, 2007, I saw the future of bespoke, individualized program software for individual clients. Like at that time, everybody was buying QuickBooks or these large platforms you buy for companies. And I foresaw it. I was like, wow, right? The resource cost and all of that is becoming so low. You can start building software specifically for companies, right? If you have a property management company, instead of using QuickBooks or instead of using somebody else's platform, you could build something that specifically solves your problems with the proper user interfaces and all that kind of stuff. I saw that. And I was doing it, right? I went through certification programs. I was figuring it all out, how we were going to do that. We did some small projects for my company. But then I looked at it, and we were just making so much money off of computer repair. Fuck me. There was just you could charge so much money just to slot a RAM chip in. You're like, oh, you want us to slot a RAM chip in? Well, it'll be $50 to slap that chip in. And what we don't tell you is there's a $50 markup on the RAM chip. So basically, I was making $100 to go, And we had a lot of work. We had so much work. So again, it was just like one of those things. Like, oh, okay, so we're gonna, why go into this new vertical that's gonna require, different processes and all that kind of stuff when we're making so much money here? And then the Great Recession happened. And then people that I knew that had app development companies, they did very well. And I became a YouTuber. Right? There's bets in life, but you gotta sit there and you gotta try to figure out what's going on, and then you make these bets. Some of them work out, some of them don't work out. Some of them don't work out now, but they work out later. All of this kind of stuff. But the thing is, you've got to understand what's going on, and that's the problem that I see right now in this modern world. Is everything is being obfuscated. Right? So encryption is where you actually encrypt the data, it's unreadable. Obfuscation is where you just make the data so fucking confusing, nobody understands what they're looking at. Like, the information is actually there. Like, it is there. If you pick through it, you can find what you want. But it's like such a mess, you don't know how to pick through it. Basically, that's obfuscation. And that's what I feel like what's going on right now with so much that's going on in our economy and our society is it's all this obfuscation. And so trying to fully grasp what is happening so that you can place your bet is incredibly difficult, right? You hear Apple is going to invest $100 billion or $500 billion or whatever else into the United States. So you're like, yeah, the U.S. is going to do great. But that's only a promise. As we saw with Foxconn, those promises can fall through. At the exact same time, you have the president of the United States running around like a fucking dog all the time. I'm an alpha dog, right? He's not a human. He's not a man. He's a dog. And he's barking at this and barking at that. You're like, what the hell's going on? Again, we got the economy. What do you say? Like I'm thinking about this. So my wife and I, again, this is a real story. My wife and I, we're looking at moving, right? Asheville's been Asheville, whatever. Moving to a place with a larger population. So we're looking at Tampa possibly. We looked at Miami. I love Miami. If you're young and you're single, move to Miami. Let me tell you. Miami, fucking awesome. Research Triangle, lovely human beings. Just way too suburban. Way too suburban. Anyways, we're looking like Tampa. Now we're looking at Austin maybe. Maybe we're looking at Austin. But one of the things to be thinking about, again, we talk about this with bets. We got talking about this with actual decisions, is I've been looking at the price spreads literally between buying houses, renting a house, or Airbnbs. Do you realize if you start looking at Airbnbs, again, I'm still doing the research on it, but long-term Airbnb seems to almost be the economically most rational idea for moving to Austin. Like, in what world, when you sit down and you look at the numbers and you're like, okay, these houses are this amount of money, to rent is this amount of money, and holy shit, an Airbnb in a quite lovely area is actually the lowest cost choice. But that's the thing, like, you've got to think about it, because like if we move to Austin, because we've already been, right? We went through the Great Recession, right? Our house, when we lived in Baltimore, our house, when it originally went on the market, we bought it in 2005. When it originally went on the market, he wanted like $390 for it. So we bought it in 2005, and so this was 2005. This was before the Great Recession happened, and we bought it for $300. We bought it for $300. So we thought, well, like, wow, look, we got like a $90,000 deal on this place. Seemed like a good idea. Anyways, so we lived there for 5 years, and that's what you're supposed to do. If you're going to buy houses, buying versus rent, you should be there for at least 5 years for it to make sense. Anyway, so we're there for 5 years. We're there for 5 years. The Great Recession happened, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I get a real estate agent to come, and I'm like, okay, so we're looking to sell this house, right? We're going to buy this other house. We're looking to sell this house. What do you think? What do you think? We don't need to make profit. We don't need to make a profit. He was like, well, I think we can put it on the market for $225, and then we'll see what happens. You're like, So yeah, what the hell is that? It's like 20%. So after 5 years of owning this house, they're like, if you put it on the market, yeah, we'll try to get you a 20% haircut, but it'll probably be worse than that. Anyways, after we sold it, we ended up selling it after like 15 years or something. 13 years. Anyways, and we basically sold it for the amount that we did. Well, we bought it in 2005 for $300, and then we did rent it out for a while, so that brought us in money. But anyways, then we sold it like 2017, 2018, and we sold it for $300. 13 fucking years. Anyways, the stories they don't tell you when they talk about investing in real estate. This is why I get so frustrated when I talk about the real world and the lived experience. Because why does nobody else ever talk about this kind of stuff? That's what's so weird. You're like, what? Am I the only one? Am I the only one in this entire country that went through the Great Recession? Anyways, and so that's one of the things to be looking at, like with house prices. So we're looking at Austin. We'll be going to Austin soon. Anyways, and that's the whole thing. It's like, well, you look at the house prices and they're high. But I don't know, are the house prices going to go up or are they going to go down, right? So if you buy for, let's say, $1 million and it goes up, then that was a good investment. If you buy for $1 million and you get 20% haircut, that's not a good investment. That's how that works. That's how investment works. I don't feel like modern investors get that. You buy for $1 million, you sell for 1.2, good investment. You buy for $1 million, you sell for 800, bad investment. That's how investment actually works. But that's like one of the weird issues that we're going on with, or that's happening right now. Is this whole thing of like, what is actually going on with our economy and our society and the rest of it, and how quickly can things just go fucking wackadoodle because the president decides to step in. So anyways, this is some things to ponder and think about. So yeah, Trump is saying that the CEO of Intel has got to go. Past that, who the hell knows? And Intel has to build more stuff, and we're going to get more vocational programs, and we're going to get better zoning policy, and we're going to get more solar energy. Who the hell knows? Who knows? So anyways, yeah, this is weird. This is weird. So we give Intel billions of dollars, and then Intel is laying off 40,000 people, and now Trump says the CEO of Intel has got to go. Like, what does that do for Intel? Where does that put any of us? It's a weird world. It's a weird, weird world. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Intel? Or what do you think about Trump saying that Intel's CEO should be fired? I don't know. Do you feel comfortable? Like, that's the interesting thing, right? We were talking to Sean Urbos, doing the Fireside Chats for Silicon Dojo. And I said, what keeps you up at night? And he literally just said uncertainty. He literally said uncertainty. He didn't say taxes or regulation or tariff or this. It was uncertainty. He has no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. And he says everybody that he talks to at his level has no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. We did the Fireside Chat with Louis Rossman, and he talked about that, where he would buy $25,000 in soldering equipment in order to sell, right? At $200 a piece or whatever. $25,000 per shipment. And he said the issue is, if he puts in the order, he doesn't know what the actual cost will be. If he puts in an order for $25,000, is he going to pay $25,000 for that order? Is he going to pay $50,000 for that order? Is he going to pay $65,000 for that order? Right? He literally has no idea. So think about this, $25,000 in economic activity that then expands out to something like $50,000, $75,000 because he buys it and then he resells for markup, obviously. So that's tens of thousands of dollars in economic activity that just stops because of uncertainty. How do you feel about all this? How do you feel? Put your thoughts down below. Give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down. Tell me I'm amazing. Tell me I'm an idiot. Just do it down in the comment section. Not in Reddit, Do it here. Do it here. Be a man. Be a real alpha dog. Say it in the comment section, because social media, modern world, all they care about is an interaction, not the quality of the interaction. Anyway, silicondojo.com. Do you realize it exists? We do fireside chats. We're having the VP for AI models come on Tuesday. So it's a couple days from now. My timeline. Basically come on and we do a Zoom call and people are able to ask questions, that type of deal. So we're going to be talking about what IBM is doing with artificial intelligence, AI models, all of that kind of stuff. You can go to silicondojo.com. You can sign up for free and you can RSVP for free. So that is occurring. And that's all I got. See you later.